Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. There's, as always, a lot to cover. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says Bitcoin price and Ethereum prediction. Stagnant trading range leaves traders wondering about the next move. It's one of those days where cryptocurrency prices are sideways / slightly down, and a lot of the people from the cryptocurrency news making space and or the cryptocurrency space in general pretend that they have, and maybe even not pretending anymore, that they have no idea why prices are doing what they're doing. There was an enormous amount of if, would, could, should, this might happen kind of price news. It says crypto news today. Markets remain sluggish. This is when Bitcoin and Ethereum may make a move higher. If you have seen this channel at any point over the course of the last 9 months, you should know by now why prices are moving down or sideways, or when they're going to actually move back up. Crypto analyst reveals this could trigger Bitcoin's next big breakout. I give you 9 million guesses as to what you think it could possibly be. For those of you who have willingly not been paying attention to what's been happening around the world, the cryptocurrency market is linked at the hip, the shoulder, the thigh, and a portion of the buttocks to each other at this point. All world markets basically are. Dow Futures, that is the Dow Jones Exchange, the stock market in the United States, dipped on Thursday morning because of a number of reasons. Basically, what has happened, and we now have explicit news knowledge of this, is that we heard last summer that the Federal Reserve would end raising interest rates in March. That is now. Happy March to everyone. It is the beginning of March. I'm not sure how this year is flying by so quickly. However, here we are. The news that we received is that in March now, the Fed would stop raising interest rates. However, the problem is that the Federal Reserve actually caused the inflation that we have, and I think it's still the worst in the United States. I think they're currently sitting at around 6.5 to 7%, somewhere around there. If you've seen any news, any documentaries, any videos on YouTube, or if you live inside of the States, you've seen that inflation is far higher than 7%. Rents in many places have risen by 30 to 50%. I know that sounds fake, but that is absolutely what's been happening with a lot of people's rent. Things in the supermarket are 2, 3, 4 times the amount as well. You can find videos online of people showing a head of lettuce is $7. A box of cereal is $8.99. A bunch of chicken wings is like $12, $14. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So the Fed has announced subsequently that because of them causing inflation and them trying to do, air quotes, everything that they could to lower inflation down, and it hasn't really worked how they thought. They assumed that by now we'd be roughly around at a 4 to 3% inflation rate, 2% being the always goal. Every single year before all of this happened, the Fed has announced that the normal inflation rate should be anywhere between 1 to 2%. As it is currently 6.5%, they're saying that their efforts haven't really worked and therefore they need to continue raising interest rates. 5% is kind of the breaking point for much of the world's economy in that they've seen before, and analysts believe that if you raise it higher than 5%, the world's economy as a whole begins to get very shaky. With them raising the interest rate from 0, where it was before, to around 4.25, a number of high-profile companies began to lay off a large number of people just to get their earnings reports back up. You've seen the news before, between 20 to 40% of some of these companies have been laid off. It's huge news. It's because these companies only care about the money first and not the actual people, which is a Anyway, the point to be made is that the Fed has basically announced that they are thinking about potentially continuing to raise the interest rate over the course of this year, and the markets don't like that. But the problem is that if they don't do this, we are going to enter a very catastrophic situation where interest rates will remain stagnant or stay exactly where they are from now until the end of the year. The stock market and cryptocurrency prices will rise, but for those of you who don't know, the economy is not the stock market. They are two very different things. I can point you to a number of books and a number of essays and a number of videos that will show you how different that they actually are. They don't accurately reflect each other. So we would we would benefit. The very few people who are in the cryptocurrency space, who are into stocks, who are maybe even into real estate, we'd benefit the most. But everyone else would also suffer as inflation would continue to rise because people would throw themselves back into the market, you name it. So we would get to a point where, I told you all of this before, this was all last year, we would get to a point where inflation would go to 15+% in America. Things would be catastrophic for everyone else but us, as we would basically outpace inflation in ways that other people simply could not. And this is where we currently are. So U.S. Federal Reserve officials were divided on Wednesday over whether recent high inflation data and a continually hot jobs market will require even more restrictive interest rates, or just patience in maintaining tight monetary policy for a longer period of time. So the idea is inflation hasn't dropped like they thought that it would. The job, people aren't finding jobs. I have a lot of friends. If you have a job right now, and I say this to you in the nicest way, if you have a job right now and you're thinking of quitting, do not. I have friends who have been looking for a job for more than 9 months. Many of them have sent out, and the word I would use is a CV. You probably know resume, to over 50 places, and none of them have received any responses back, or if they do, it's an AI automated response. People cannot find jobs now, and no one's also hiring. Also, the idea is that if they do continue to raise interest rates for a longer period of time, they're thinking of doing it maybe until the end of summer, where the next 3 subsequent interest rate rises would only, air quotes, be by 0.25, or just one gigantic lump of 0.75 at one time, which they think would shock the market. But part of the issue is that if they go that high, it will de-incentivize people from wanting to get into the market, from doing whatever they need to. I mean, it's a whole bunch of things. So they're trying to figure out if they should simply just raise it to 5, like they said last year, leave it there, or if they should continue to raise it over and over the course of this year until they get around 6%. But if they do that, we are probably going to dip into a recession depression, which is what they're trying to not have. In remarks to a business event in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or Sioux Falls, I don't know, Minneapolis Fed President Neil Kashkar, I don't know, says he was inclined to push up my policy path after a recent government report showed the Fed's preferred inflation index accelerated in January to 5.4% annual rate, more than double the Fed's 2% target and slightly faster than the month before. Kashkar, a voter of the Fed rate policy this year, said she had not made a final call yet on a new projection for the target rate. She said, but at this point, I lean towards continuing to raise further beyond the 5.4% level that had previously we thought would be adequate to lower inflation. So as you might have expected, the market is shocked at this moment. There's so many factors that could bring us out of it, but it's more of a things need to move forward. And I know that, and I myself, and I'll tell you this as a friend, I've become very impatient with the cryptocurrency market and other things in general in life right now, because I know that things should be so much further ahead than they actually are currently right now. I know I'm not the only one who's going through this. I can feel the anxiety in the air from everyone who I talk to, everyone who I meet. We all feel like we and things should be much further along. I mentioned last year, now I am not a Fed professional, I am not an economist, I am not anything of the sort. But it is blatantly obvious that last year we should have had multiple 0.75 and or 1% movements up for the interest rate, so that we should already be sitting at around 5.5%. The market in December would have had a gigantic shock to the system, and where we currently are right now, we'd be far more leveled out, and prices across the board would also be a lot higher, and people wouldn't have had to be laid off as they actually were. We're also in this situation right now where the cryptocurrency market is so closely tied to the stock market. The only thing that's going to actually move us a lot further is if we get really good news. If we find out that, and I shed a tear as I'm saying this, because for some reason this means so much to people. If we hear that Tesla or SpaceX is buying more Bitcoin or has bought more Bitcoin, if we find out that there's another company out there like we were hearing more so in 2021 who had purchased $800 million worth of Bitcoin, this would also cause a shock to our market, and we would also begin to slightly move back up. I think the main catalyst, and there are a lot of people who are echoing this right now, the main catalyst to get our market moving once again is going to be Ethereum. We are still waiting. For those of you who don't know, I think it was on the last day of February, they launched the Sepolia Molia, I don't know what this thing is called, the last public testnet for the Shanghai upgrade to happen. This is quite normal. We typically see between 2 to 3 different testnets that end up taking place on all different networks to see if they run correctly. The first one that ran sometime in February, they found bugs inside of it. The bugs were subsequently fixed. This is the point of testnets. You can't just simply throw the upgrade onto the actual mainnet. So we are currently on the last testnet, and sometime this month, we should be hearing when the actual upgrade is going to happen. Historically, now this has happened for every other coin, every other chain, doesn't matter who or what they are, how good or bad the chain or blockchain might actually be. Whenever we hear an exact date, on the 28th of March, we will be getting this upgrade. Prices for that coin tend to move higher. We are lucky now that the upgrade will be happening on Ethereum. Ethereum is tied to every other coin the same way Bitcoin is on every cryptocurrency exchange. If Bitcoin moves higher, every other coin moves higher. If Ethereum moves higher, as one would expect, as we get news of the actual upgrade, other altcoins will also be moving up as well. So it's either the upgrade for Shanghai is going to move us higher over the course of this month, or they raise interest rates one more time, which just do it. Like this entire babying the market and trying not to shock it, just shock the market. We all know what's going to happen. We all know what you need to do. Just do it so we don't have to wait until September to be like, okay, can markets move up right now? And there's also a whole bunch of other supply chain issues because people have rapidly realized that globalization, the world was not ready for the level of globalization that we had, especially when there were only 2 places on the planet where we were getting our wheat from. I wish the people that ran the world were smarter because they're not. That's all the price news that we have right now. Stock futures are currently down. Normally, whenever we hear bad news from the Fed, 2 days later, markets have forgotten and markets begin to move back up. The next big date that we are looking for is the 22nd of March. 21st, they're meant to have a meeting, a Fed meeting, and the 22nd is the normal time when they stand on that podium and they tell us what they have decided. So those are going to be the next pivotal movements for the market. Hopefully they won't. If they just raise it by 0.75%, we'd be done with all of this. But alas, here we are. That's all the price news. And yeah, let's move on. In what can only be considered the second coming, because everyone completely lost their minds over this, trading giant Robinhood is launching its new crypto wallet on Apple's mobile operating system, just say iOS, with support for a handful of prominent altcoins. In a new blog post, Robinhood unveils that its Web3-enabled wallet is now available to all iOS customers around the world, and it will be adding support for crypto assets, Shiba Inu, Polygon, Matic, and Ethereum. Other digital assets supported by the wallet include, and I cry here. Solana, Uniswap, and stablecoin USD coin, that's Coinbase's coin. According to Johan Kerbat, the general manager of Robinhood's crypto branch, the updates were added to the wallet after the company reflected on user feedback from the beta released last year. They said the feedback we received for Robinhood Wallet since first launching in beta has been extremely positive. Users have told us that they love how accessible and easy to use the app is, and that they really enjoy the ability to self-custody their digital assets and swap with no network fees on Polygon. Yeah, this is... And so many features that these companies are adding are just mimicking the actual usage of a blockchain, but they tout it as something revolutionary when you can already do these things by yourself. The idea of you being able to self-custody on a platform where you've given them custody of your assets isn't amazing. You can already self-custody on a ledger or simply on your computer. Yeah, you see why it's not that. Anyway, with no network fees on Polygon. Polygon already has little to no network fees already. That's the magic of Polygon. That's why so many people have been using it. They also told us that they want access to more coins on their chains, which is why we've quickly added support for Ethereum. Because the moment, for those of you who don't know, the moment you add Ethereum, you by default nearly add every single ERC20 token. Those are other tokens built on top of Ethereum because they're built on top of Ethereum. So the news is Robinhood has launched their crypto wallet on iOS. They added support for Shiba Inu, Polygon, and Matic, and people lost their ever-loving minds. This was the most popular news story over the last however long this news has been out. Robinhood Wallet rolls out iOS with Android support to follow. Robinhood Wallet crosses borders with globally available iOS. You know what also crosses borders? Blockchain, and you have access to it beforehand. You know, there are already self-custody wallets that are on your computer. Like, you self-custody them. They don't belong to the company. There's no affiliation here, but they're called Exodus. Yes, type in Exodus wallet on your local search engine and you'll find them. They're great. They're pretty fun. They have a great user interface. You also custody your coins yourself, and you use blockchain technology to send coin. I don't understand. It's always so weird. Anyway, so this is the most popular news story of the day compared to the next one that we're also going to be going over. So if you use Robinhood and you've been looking to cross borders because we still have nothing called blockchain yet, and you only have iOS, then there you go. So weird. I don't understand people. That's the Robinhood news. All right. Let's move on. So we're going to work backwards here so that we can get to where we currently are. One of the major news stories over the last couple of days was that Coinbase has delisted the Binance US dollar, saying it doesn't meet listing standards. So this is hear me out here. I think Coinbase is going through either a very weird identity crisis, or B, there are only these two things, or B, I think they have, this is my opinion, I think they have been contacted by the SEC in the same exact way that Kraken has, and I think that they've kind of begun to panic in some sort of way. The suspension of the Binance US dollar affects Coinbase, Coinbase Pro, Coinbase Exchange, and also Coinbase Prime. Coinbase will suspend trading of the Binance US dollar starting on the 13th of March. They said because the stablecoin doesn't meet its listing standards, the US crypto exchange tweeted on Monday. They said our determination to suspend trading for Binance's US dollar is based on our own internal monitoring and review processes. When reviewing Binance's US dollar, we determined that it no longer met our listing standards and will be suspended. Yeah, so it's vague on purpose, and I'm going to tell you why it's so vague. Binance's the largest crypto exchange on the planet. I told you this before hundreds of times in other videos. A lot of people hated on Changpeng Zhao, mainly from propaganda that stemmed from other larger cryptocurrency exchanges who, you know what life is like. You know exactly why they did it. Changpeng Zhao is from China. You can put two and two together. And the fact that Binance became so large, this is why we continue to hear so much controversy over the years about was Changpeng Zhao doing this? Is Binance actually legit? And all that seemingly disappeared once Binance actually had proper paperwork in a number of other countries. You might remember, for those of you not looking at the screen, it says Coinbase to suspend trading of Binance's US dollar. Coinbase announces suspension of Binance US dollar trading on the 13th of March. You might remember one very critical piece of news that happened just a couple of months ago. And this, I believe, is the reason why Coinbase is delisting Binance's US dollar. Binance announced last September of last year that they were no longer going to be supporting USDC. A lot of people call this Circle coin. Do you know who Circle comes from or what USDC actually is? Is Coinbase's stablecoin. The second largest stablecoin was delisted by Binance. They announced that they would be delisting Coinbase coin, Paxos dollar, and True USD to give all support to their own stablecoin, which is called the Binance US dollar. It makes a lot of sense why they would be doing this because they're a company. They probably saw that the other chains, the other coins were maybe taking 5, 7, 10, 15% of the money that could have been flowing through the Binance US dollar. Every transaction on the Binance US dollar coin chain has a transaction fee. They want to make sure that they get all of those transaction fees for themselves. It's what a normal billion-dollar company would want. However, the news is that Coinbase announced that they were suspending the usage of the Binance US dollar because it doesn't meet their requirements, which is typical Coinbase, as opposed to just saying out loud, we're delisting them because they delisted us last year. They probably have also seen a gigantic fall in the amount of revenue that they would have been receiving from Coinbase coin. It makes a lot of sense. If the largest crypto exchange on the planet is no longer using your stablecoin and everything is flowing through Binance coin, they saw a dramatic drop in the amount of money that they were making from that chain. So what do? You delist, and it would also have been a shame if on Coinbase, the most used stablecoin was actually the Binance coin. So of course they're going to be delisting it. There was another couple of websites I saw that they said that they were doing it because of the controversy surrounding Paxos, which is a load of garbage. It's all complete nonsense. They're delisting it because Binance delisted them. And instead of just being a normal crypto exchange and saying, hey, we're not getting as much volume as we were before, we have to delist them. This is basically what Binance said. Binance was like, we want all of this to flow through our coin. It's just complete logic. This was also relatively popular news. A lot of people were talking about it. Off the back of all of that news, Coinbase, this is what I'm talking about, is going through some kind of an identity crisis where they're trying to rechange their appearance in a sort of way to make it seem like they're younger and hip and they're trying to interact more with the community. Or B, one of these two things has happened. Or maybe both. Or B, they've been contacted by the SEC saying that a number of the products that they're currently listing on their platform are securities. Someone was asking yesterday on Twitter, hello to you out there. I understand it can be quite confusing. Someone was asking if Amazon or eBay, if they were securities. So the idea is companies are not securities. The idea is that something that a company offers to people within the United States that they could have purchased, that you might have purchased from a company with an expectation of profit, is considered a security. The SEC has recently completely lost their minds and they're overstepping 15 whole jumps. They're not like inching their way. They keep jumping further just to see exactly how much space that they can take up until someone actually screams, you're pushing me into the wall. And the problem with the cryptocurrency exchanges is that they're so easily bendable to the will of regulators and to other people who might be bullying them, that they say nothing out loud until something actively happens against them. This is why I'm saying something must have happened to Coinbase. The SEC announced at a number of cryptocurrency exchanges that the things that they're offering might be considered securities. The issue is there's no real downside for you as the consumer per se, but the problem is for the company, they either will have to delist multiple things that they had, similar to Kraken US with listing their staking of coins and all the other things that the SEC said, but also these companies then have to pay gigantic fees for something that they listed that they did not know was, and I air quotes here, illegal at the time. Coinbase has an enormous amount of products listed on their platform, and they were probably contacted in the last month or two by the SEC saying, hey, these 15 things that you have, especially when it comes to staking, because people are getting into staking with an expectation of profit, belong therefore to the SEC. You should have registered these things with us, and now you're in trouble. The problem is that me staking my assets, me staking my crypto, me locking my crypto onto a chain, whether I do it myself or whether I do it through Coinbase, which I will not be using Coinbase, but this part of the idea does not constitute a security. I'm not using Coinbase's product. I'm using a gigantic pool that Coinbase is also offering a portion of, because they're also connected to another pool, to be able to stake my coins to get the money from the actual protocol. The SEC is saying that because these protocols or whatever these staking options are being used through a crypto exchange, therefore the exchange is responsible for the money. They're offering the service, and therefore it's a security. Everyone got it? I really hope you did, because it's very exhausting to keep repeating all of that. So the news is, for those of you, this is the first part. For those of you who did not know, the Coinbase CEO has come out in the last 3 days, and he has been very vocal that it's time for clear cryptocurrency rules. This tells me that they were contacted by the SEC and said, you did all of these things wrong. But the problem with the SEC is that they don't tell people when things are wrong. They tell you after you've been doing something bad, air quotes, for a number of years. And we've seen before in the past, the CEO of Coinbase only gets very vocal when negative things have happened directly to Coinbase. I assume he doesn't care about us. The feeling's mutual. We don't know this guy. He doesn't know us. He's just in it for the money. But alas. In an interview with Bloomberg, Coinbase co-founder and chief executive officer Brian Armstrong announced the current regulatory approach enforced by the U.S. government. The CEO of the U.S.-based exchange reiterated that staking services shouldn't be registered as a security under the jurisdiction of the Securities and Exchange Commission by saying, customers never turn their assets to Coinbase, for instance. It should be turnover. And we really just are providing a service that passes those coins to help them participate in staking, which is a decentralized protocol. This tells me that Coinbase has been contacted by the SEC and they're in trouble. Do I know this for certain? No. The Brian Armstrong would never. Brian Armstrong and the Winklevoss twins would never step foot on the SEC's feet unless they knew or had been told something negative about their entire platform. The entire idea that these people know what staking is. I would sincerely hope that the people from the SEC had done a fraction of homework to understand what something means to be decentralized and what a staking service actually is. And I even stand, and this is weird, I even stand with Coinbase on this one, because at no point are they actually taking control of our coins. You use a staking service that goes through them. If you've ever tried staking yourself before, and so also throwing this out there, on Exodus, you can also stake your coins yourself. Just throwing it out there. Just throwing that out there for all of you. If you ever tried to stake yourself through an actual protocol, like through an actual chain, it's very, very difficult. So the staking as a service thing makes it easier for people who are trying to stake their coins. Your coins simply get added to a staking pool that's basically distributed around the entirety of the planet, wherever the rest of the pool members are. And then you get the money from it that you would have normally gotten from the actual staking, which could be quite difficult for you to do. Furthermore, the Coinbase CEO stated that despite the ongoing regulatory actions that the SEC has carried out in recent months following FTX, the company maintains a good relationship with regulators not only in the US, but also in Europe, Asia, and Canada, where the exchange provides its services. So something happened. I don't know what, but the people from Coinbase the last couple of days have seemed very jittery online when it comes to things that are going on. Also tying directly into this news, because the same exact thing also took place in a more cringy, help us, we're rich, we're in trouble kind of situation. Coinbase has launched what they call a grassroots political campaign to promote pro-crypto policies, according to a 28th of February Twitter thread from the company. The company said that the hashtag Crypto435 campaign is intended to grow the crypto advocacy community and share tools and resources so that crypto users can make their voices heard on all 435 congressional districts. So I'm going to explain something to you. Whether you're in the States or not, this is how politics work. First of all, Coinbase does not care about you. I need you to get that completely through your head, the same exact way that you know, or you should know, at least at this age, that politicians on all sides do not care for you or about you. It is simply about getting votes. Coinbase is trying to launch what they call a grassroots, and you use the term grassroots because it has a more of a homely feeling. You wouldn't say like a diamond politician, or a billionaire only political campaign. You say grassroots because if grassroots tends to mean like the everyday normal man. So the idea that they're trying to do is they're trying to make sure that people within the cryptocurrency space who were otherwise thrown to the side by Coinbase and other cryptocurrency companies basically begin to come forward and basically demand more cryptocurrency rules and regulations. This also further is telling me that Coinbase has been contacted by the SEC, and now they're trying to do this like rallying cry across the board to tell people like, hey, you guys want to also join in to make cryptocurrency great? Well, sign here and do this and tell your local politicians, because the local politicians probably also have told Coinbase something as well. It's all extremely cringy. They're basically trying, and this is the worst part for me. If you were here in 2018 and the entirety of 2019 and what began in the beginning of 2020 but then stopped, Coinbase and not Binance, Gemini had basically announced that they don't, and I paraphrase here very lightly, that rich people matter more. They basically announced that a number of their products were only going to be for institutional investors. They created Coinbase Custody only for institutional. Like, it had nothing to do with you wanting to custody your coins and keep them safe. You had to have over $50 million worth of assets. Every new thing that they created, it was because the idea was in 2018 that the crypto, you can watch my old videos. You can watch all of them. I showed you the news on the screen. The idea was that, at least back then, wink, that the only way to get the cryptocurrency market to go back up was by the money from rich people. Remember the news? We were expecting a tidal wave, an avalanche, a tsunami worth of institutional capital, and that was going to raise the market up. We got news that these big companies were thinking about getting into the space, but by the end of 2019, none of that money had materialized. The cryptocurrency market had continued to go down. And that's when we saw the switch, and everyone was like, yeah, we're going to make sure that cryptocurrencies are for you. And it's like, well, for 2 years, you ignored us. Every single product that came out was not for us. That began the launch of all the company coins and the institutional coins and the Tezos and the Solana and all these other things that were made by big companies that were listed when no one else was asking them to be listed. You remember when Coinbase had this really long 2-year trend where they were asking the community every day on Twitter, what coins would you like to see listed on Coinbase? And everything that they listed was never even on their list. I know someone shaking their head like, yup, I remember. Yeah, it was a really weird time where we were told that we weren't worth it anymore. We were the smaller consumers. We were the retail. The big money was going to be what brought the cryptocurrency market back up, and not the same people who had done it for the previous, 10, 12 years before. So now Coinbase is trying to launch this thing where they're trying to tell everyone to join hands and dance in a circle to make sure that cryptocurrency gets regulation and all this other stuff. It's because they want it. They want the regulatory clarity, not for us, but for their business. Cryptocurrencies will continue with or without Coinbase. Think of that. If Coinbase ceases to exist tomorrow, you take all your coins off, you can still use other cryptocurrency exchanges. You can still stake your coins yourself or through self-custody wallets. What has changed? The crypto market went down because Coinbase, people believed, even years ago, people are so weird. People believed that Bitcoin was Coinbase. That was also, I think people need to read more. So anyway, on top of this, and I'm showing you this to show you the gigantic irony of everything that's been taking place. Coinbase has announced that they basically want to get back to the community. They want to help people. They want everyone to literally join hands and, grow the cryptocurrency space once again together, to share tools, share resources. We can do this as one gigantic space if we all listen to each other and we all help each other. Ha ha ha. Also in that news, the hashtag #RelistXRP is hyper retrending on Twitter. Can you guess why? Because everyone saw what Coinbase was trying to do and what Coinbase was saying, and saying that we need to come back together as a community to help each other. What better way of doing that than by relisting a coin that Coinbase can relist and should have never delisted in the first place? For those of you who missed it, Coinbase delisted XRP after the SEC fraudulently tried to sue them at the end of 2020. But the issue is, and I can find the article for you again if you wish, or you can. It was one of the videos like 2-something weeks ago. The SEC announced after the delistings, they said no crypto exchange should have delisted because our problem is with Ripple, the company, and not the XRP token. So the XRP community and a bunch of other people are still telling Coinbase, you can relist it. Like, it's not even like, we're just, kind of guessing here. We know what the SEC said, and Coinbase still refuses to do it. But it just shows the literal hypocrisy because Coinbase only cares about Coinbase. This is something that I think a lot of people tend to forget, especially in a capitalistic society like we have. People think that because these people write on Twitter, because these people will have giveaways and airdrops and all these other things, that they actually care about you. These companies and these people only care about themselves. You don't think it's weird that after Kraken got some bad news, and I assume that Coinbase did, that Coinbase is launching all this stuff to say, hey guys, we got to help each other. Come on, everybody, come together. They're going on Bloomberg to talk about advocacy and how we have to bring the cryptocurrency space forward, and it's all complete nonsense. So they should have relisted XRP a while ago, but Coinbase and their CEO, we know that they care more about Ethereum. I assume they have an egregious amount of Ether, and probably more realistically will not be relisting XRP anytime in the near future. I give it maybe to the end of the year. Even after the end of a lawsuit that came out in Ripple's favor, they would still take a couple of weeks. We all know that it's true. Tying into that news, Uphold responded online about XRP. So they basically, Uphold announced on Twitter that they had listed XRP. They wrote in a tweet, #RelistXRP, and everyone was like, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, finally, Uphold knows what's going on. Wait, I'm not understanding what's happening. So Uphold already has XRP, but they made a tweet that said relist XRP, and people went to their website and saw that they had never delisted XRP. So people were asking, why did you write something like that if you had it the entire time? It says, however, the community members were bewildered as they claimed that XRP was already listed and available for trading. So a lot of people think that they were, and I air quotes here, simply hungry for engagement and were trying to get people to use their website. And I'll say it this way. If Uphold isn't making a huge amount of money, I don't know what their daily volume is. I assume they did this because for some reason, and this is like a crypto phenomenon thing. I don't know if people can't read. I don't know if word doesn't spread around evenly in crypto. Remember like 2 years ago where people were asking, it was Dogecoin. People were asking for Dogecoin to be listed on Robinhood. And I was like, you know that Dogecoin is on Coinbase, is on Binance, is on Kraken. I think it's even on Gemini. And also like 8 other exchanges. And the people were like, yeah, but it's not on Robinhood. And I was like, but you know that it's listed on Coinbase, on Binance, on Kraken, and on Gemini. And then the moment it got listed on Robinhood, Dogecoin's price went up and everyone threw their Dogecoin onto Robinhood. So for some reason, people have a hyper fixation on one exchange that they want to use. I understand that Robinhood is popular, but it's gotten to the point where imagine you're in a field and there are thousands of trees around you and you are telling me, I really want an apple. And I'm like, oh my gosh, those 50 trees behind you, they're all growing apples. And you're like, oh my gosh, I just really, really want an apple. And you're pointing to one tree that has yet to bear any fruit. And you keep saying over and over, you want an apple, and you wait 9 months for that one tree to give you an apple when the whole time you had it behind you and you just simply weren't paying attention. That's what most of all of the cryptocurrency space seems to actually be like. Anyway, that's the Coinbase is trying to get community support. Coinbase is delisting the Binance coin, claiming that they're doing it because of the SEC when they're doing it because I'm pretty sure that their stablecoin has been losing a huge amount of volume. Coinbase trying to get political advocacy from you because they desperately need you now because they probably got bad news and will not need you later when everything is honky-dory for them. People telling Coinbase to relist XRP because there's no reason why they should have... think about that. Think of... And I wonder what the internal talks are. They should have never delisted XRP. And they still refuse to relist it. And also Uphold announcing that it's already on their platform. And I assume it was a cheeky way of them doing it because they're like, hey, you idiots. It's already on this platform. You want XRP? Guess what? It's already here. You could be trading it here. But the worst part for me is people will wait a year for Coinbase to relist it. The exchange that shunned the XRP community. Think about that. These people are actively lying to you and telling you that they can't relist XRP when we know that they can. And when they do relist it in a year, people will run to their platform in the XRP community and use Coinbase as if Coinbase wasn't the thing that helped to lower prices multiple times for XRP. Don't forget 2017. Anyway, that's all that news. I told you it was going to be a bit of a doozy day. Doozy day. And it sounds like a movie. Doozy Day Part 3. And yeah, let's move on. As always, a very big thank you to my Patreon supporters. John Sarson. Hello, sir. Welcome back. Martin Steuer, Bodie McBoatface, Sam Ratter, Dotha Diddy, Manny Cryptos, Crypto Gambino, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, and let's move on. Empire Queen, Roman Geba, Bitcoin Ben, Arachno Dave, The Dealer's Den, Captain Something in the Z-Way, Lay, Mo Barazi, VB Nerd 21, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Troy Allgood, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Pat Turnalston, Navarro Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman, High XRP, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, Bibliophobia, Adam, Graysick, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy, 3D, Setsuna, Paxis, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, almost went cross-eyed there. What happened? Jeez Louise. Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger, Macho Nisa, and on Crypto with Lionel. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who has left a like, has left a comment, has subscribed. To everyone who's still here, thank you all very, very much. At the moment, Bitcoin is down by 1.3%. It is not down by 8%. It is not down by 15%. It is down by 1.3%, which is not bad. If you were here in the long ago, we would have done a lot for days like this, where prices were barely down. Ethereum is down by 0.61%. I think everyone is just waiting for actual confirmation as to when this upgrade is going to be taking place. Anything else crazy? OKB is down by 2%. 8 is down by 2. Polygon is down by 3. Shiba Inu is down by 3. VeChain Thor is down by 4. That rhymed. Internet Computer is down by 4 as well. Just about it. Yeah, nothing else is too. Terra Luna Classic is up by 4.9%. I'm not really sure why or how, but bless their hearts. Yeah, I do hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.